Media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
What is going on, y'all? Welcome to the Mission Ready Men Weekend Debrief. And faith in God still sets the standard here on the weekend, and masculinity is still not toxic. And today is the first Mission Ready Men Debrief, Saturday, May 2nd, the year of our Lord 2026. And we're going to try to have a little fun tonight. We got a couple of somewhat heavier things that we're going to get into, but overall we're going to try and keep it a little lighter. Not a whole lot of prep went into this show, so I'm hoping that it will still be up to the quality that you are used to. Now, real quick, before we dive in, please hit like and subscribe and share, and help us to break through the algorithm chokehold that we're in right now. The tech tyrants are still trying to hold us down, but it has loosened up a little bit. So thank you for every like, every click, every share, every comment. It all matters. So thank you all very much. And also, just so that you know, if you're not familiar with the show that we do during the week, this show runs on the SHR Media Network. And I also have a personal individual YouTube channel. And so please go ahead and subscribe over there as well. It's the same content, same show, same time, but we're closing in on 1,000 subscribers over there, and we would like to hit that mark. So if you could do me another favor and sign up over there, that would be outstanding. We would really appreciate that. We were at, I think we're at 950 right now, 949, 950 over there. So if you could help us get past 1,000, we would really appreciate it. All right, business is out of the way, so let's get into this. And I said there wasn't a whole lot of prep that went into the show, and I was going over my last minute stuff, and completely forgot that there was one thing that I wanted to get to, and I just happened to see a mention of it, and so I wanted to. I wanted to get it in there. And this is a clip of Scott Jennings. And Scott Jennings is pretty much the only reason to watch CNN at this point. And it's to the point where all of the leftists, one in particular, whose name escapes me at the moment, have been trying to get him fired from CNN because he just destroys them in every debate. And it seems like he finally had enough. And there was this young kid, fresh out of college, probably never held a real job in his life, certainly not in politics, and trying to lecture Scott Jennings, lecture us all, really. And Scott Jennings finally just had enough. And so check this out, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Is that playing? It looks like it's frozen on my screen. Could you all see it? No? Oh, let's see. Let's see what we got here. It's Saturday, folks. It is Saturday. I think I might have had the wrong tab. So let's try this again. All right, here we go.
I mean, honestly, they have been at war with us for 47
We all
years.
know that Scott Jennings is more than happy to defend a war with a country that starts with the letters IRA that we are currently failing, that is going to put us trillions and trillions of dollars more in debt. I was only a few years old while you were in the administration defending prior endless wars.
I was only a few years old in this kid's barely out of diapers. Come on.
Now, this war is failing.
8 weeks is endless to you?
Okay, you said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks.
You have the attention span of a gnat?
Homie, I debated you on TV 4 to 6 weeks ago, and you said we were weeks away from it. Now you're making condescending remarks because you can't defend the fact that this war is not going your way. Wait, one more time.
Not going your way.
Name one political concession.
Name
one political concession.
Hey, whoa.
Honestly, I'm not going to have this guy's name on my face.
Everybody, hang tight.
Honestly.
Okay. No.
I mean,
He said, "Get your effing hand out of my face." And I don't blame him. I mean, the kid was being a smart aleck, and he did have his hand in his face. And I don't blame Scott Jennings one bit. Of course, this kid gets on social media and starts talking about how he made Scott Jennings cry and he made him snap and all this other nonsense. And it was ridiculous. It was utterly ridiculous because I watched the entire segment, and at no point, obviously, did Scott Jennings cry. He snapped there, and I don't really blame him for it. And as usual, Scott Jennings mopped the floor with every leftist on that panel, as he always does. And so I just thought that was absolutely hilarious. And honestly, I don't know if he's going to be back on CNN. I would think so, because when he's on, the ratings are through the roof compared to what they are when he's not. But CNN should give him his own show. He should probably he shouldn't take Abby Phillips' place, because he would conduct the show the way it's supposed to be as a moderator. And she gets on there and she's another panelist, and she's supposed to be moderating the debate that is supposed to be going on. So Scott Jennings needs his own show. He's got his own podcast, which is great. I haven't watched the entire thing. I think it's 2 hours long, something like that. But I've seen segments of it. He's great. And he he is the best thing on CNN right now. And I hope it continues. I hope they don't cave to the woke mob trying to cancel him and get him off that show or off the network. All right. Another thing I wanted to talk about. There is another leftist on I believe, he's on MS Now or BS Now or whatever they call themselves these days. Jonathan Capehart. He is a left-wing commentator / reporter, I guess, journalist. And I use that term loosely, journalist, on, like I said, on BS Now. And they were talking about the most recent attempt on President Trump's life. And he was on a panel with somebody else who was talking about, he talked about progressives and how young progressives are very comfortable with violence and very comfortable with solving their political disputes with violence and believe that it's okay for people to be taking shots at their political opponents and all the rest of it. And we've talked about that poll before a few times here on this show. And so Jonathan Capehart is on a panel talking about that, and I want you to listen to his takeaway from the events of that night. And yes, Spitfire, Jonathan Capehart is faking gay. But check this out, and then we'll get into this as well.
Well, excuse me, I'm not going to just let the comment that, progressives, more than folks on the far right are, think that violence is justified.
You cannot let it all you want, dude, but it's the truth. It is demonstrably true. The facts bear it out. The stats bear it out. Everything bears it out. And the fact that you are so entrenched in your ideology that you don't want to believe that is a distinctly you problem. And everyone else who agrees with you too, by the way.
It is something that the American people feel they're a little more comfortable with it than they were, say, 5 or 10 years ago. You and I were in that room. We walked through the magnetometers together. We stood in that spot. Right. The thing now, a week out, that I've been thinking about, and I keep coming back to it, is that when I heard the 5 bangs, I remember hearing 5 very loud bangs, my immediate action was so instinctive: drop to the floor, under the table, and be quiet. I've never been in a situation like that. But as an American, and certainly as a journalist, having to cover all of these things and to listen to the recordings and the films, you sort of learn through osmosis what to do. And to me, the bigger issue here is gun violence.
And there it is. Gun violence. That's the bigger issue.
That why was I not surprised that this had happened?
Well, you probably weren't surprised because it's happened 3 other times where somebody has tried to take a shot at the president. That's why. And you being a journalist has really nothing to do with your reaction in that moment. I would contend that anyone who's ever watched an action movie, anyone who's ever watched a cop show, anyone who has ever and his journalistic pursuits may contribute to it a little bit, but I think we can all understand that if somebody's shooting, you duck. It doesn't have to be because of your coverage of these stories in the American Pravda. I think that is his coping with the fact that his side thinks that it's okay. His side thinks that it is perfectly fine to solve their political problems with violence. He can not want to let it slide all he wants, but it's the fact. He is the quintessential leftist American Pravda propagandist. And that's the reason he didn't want to let it slide. The truth means absolutely nothing to these people. Absolutely nothing. The truth, well, and I'm sure he's one of these people who believes that there's your truth and my truth, and everybody has their own truth, and everybody has to live their truth, and all this other progressive nonsense. But the fact is, there is truth and there is everything else. There's truth and then there's lies. And if it's not the truth, there's only one other thing it could be. These people are pathetic, absolutely pathetic. So you have you have Scott Jennings letting this young progressive have it. You have Jonathan Capehart, who is probably what this other kid, Adam Mockler, I think his name is, wants to grow up to be. These leftists they're pathetic. That's the only other way to put it. They're pathetic. They're pathetic, and we have got to do something about getting away from their nonsense. I'm just taking a look at some of the comments here, and I want to thank you all for being in the chat. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. We love a good debate. If I have a chance, I will look at some of these chats every now and then and try to address them if they're worth addressing. If not, I'm sure other people in the chat will respond as necessary. But I do want to thank you all for being in the chat. Please remember to keep it respectful. We have moderators in there who are holding it down, and I want to thank them very much for being there to keep order in the chat. Again, whether you agree or disagree, we really appreciate it. And if you disagree, if we have a chance, we will. If we have a chance, we will address some of your chats. But in the meantime, there's something else I want to get into, and I touched on some of it in the last show we did. But then there's another aspect to that we didn't talk about. And it's something that I haven't really mentioned much on this show. I've talked about it a couple of times, talked about how evil it was. But we're gonna get into it a little bit here. I'm talking about Candace Owens. And I talked about Erica Kirk and the address that she had on the Charlie Kirk show the other day, and it was only about 8 minutes long. It was pretty wide ranging. I didn't mention her talking about Candace Owens in the last show, but we are going to get into that here in a minute. But Candace Owens was just sued by Charlie Kirk's former head of security, Brian Harpole. And Candace Owens is a nutcase. She is an absolute nutcase. She was, like I said, she was sued by Brian Harpole and claimed that he was involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And she has this thing where she was talking about something that went on at Fort Huachuca military base the day before Charlie Kirk was killed, and claimed that he was there with Mossad operatives or some such nonsense. I think she even said Erica Kirk was there, but TPUSA, his security, were involved in planning something at Fort Huachuca or something along those lines. And in the suit, he says that she wanted him to give her an alibi for why he was there, or if he was there that day, or whatever the case may be. You know, let's listen to this, because this is from Milk Bar TV, and he has been outstanding in gathering all this information about Candace Owens. And like I said, I haven't really talked about it much, other than to say that she was evil, and she's probably suffering from some postpartum psychosis, because some of the things that she's saying and doing are just off the wall. crazy. But let's take a look at this and then we'll get into a little bit more.
By spreading defamatory lies about Harpole and then cajoling him to give her the exclusive content of a response, she stood to profit from increased attention and viewership to her platform at Harpole's expense. So he didn't reply with a yes or no because he didn't want to give me an exclusive yes or no, because then I would have made money on my platform. I didn't ask you for an exclusive.
Way to absolutely miss the point. And this is something that I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about. And maybe they haven't, I just haven't seen it yet. But why does he have to give her an alibi for anything? She's not law enforcement. She's a podcaster. Why is it incumbent upon him to give her an alibi for his whereabouts the day before Charlie Kirk was killed? She claims to be one of Charlie Kirk's best friends or whatever. That still doesn't give her the right to hear any alibi that he may need, that he may have. Why? What business is it of hers? If that had been me, I would have said, kick rocks. I'm giving you nothing. And it wouldn't have anything to do with whether or not she was going to make money off of it. And as it turns out, she made money anyway, because other people did give her their alibis. And well, let's continue.
It would have put an end to me covering the story beyond, but I'm open. Give me the alibi. Give it to me.
They did give an alibi, so they do care. If you have to give someone an alibi, it's because you don't want people to think that you're there. An alibi is not needed if there's nothing to hide. So that's why it matters. I think that's why it matters, and that's why this is now. That's why I named this "Why It Suddenly Really Matters," right? So if they had kind of stayed out of it and were like, "Well, I'm not even going to answer because it's so stupid," then we're like, "Okay, well, maybe he's just wrong," and that would be what it was. He would just be wrong.
But I'm open. Give me the alibi.
She's a lunatic. And that's not the first time she's contradicted herself. She contradicted herself in the span of a few minutes on a single show when she was talking to Piers Morgan. So this woman is nuts, absolutely nuts. And she's well, you know what? Let's do this. Because I told you Erica Kirk had her, gave her address where she talked about a host of things. And this is where she talks about what has been going on with Candace Owens.
In this culture we're living in, absorbs disagreement as a form of personal betrayal. It turns having an opposing viewpoint into a moral crime worthy of punishment. And here's what I've realized through all of this, truly, having lived through quite literal hell these past 7 months, if you strip someone of their humanity long enough, you will arrive at the chilling conclusion that they don't deserve to exist at all. Every morning I wake up to a new headline lying about me. I have comedians dressing up in whiteface. I have people saying I'm not fit to be CEO. And I have Candace Owens claiming I murdered my husband. And the list goes on and on and on.
So she finally came out and addressed it. I've been waiting for it for quite some time, hoping that she would finally do it. I hope that eventually she files her own lawsuit against her for defamation and whatever else they can throw in there. But Candace Owens actually fired back against this. And I think I have it. Yeah, here we go. Well, maybe this is it. We'll see. This is still Candace Owens going full nut job.
Guys, straight to jail for questioning at least Erica. I don't care who's mad. I really do not care who wants to be upset after this episode. Really, you'll be wasting your breath. You can spend $1 billion on influencers because this is all becoming increasingly inexplicable. You are asking me to be an idiot, actually, and I cannot do that for you. Someone once commented beneath this show that if the situations were reversed and there were this many verifiable lies that Charlie told regarding guys straight to jail,
Anyway, that's not the one I was looking for, but there was a clip of her responding to Erica Kirk where she said that she never accused Erica Kirk of murdering Charlie Kirk or being involved in the cover-up of his murder. And I call shenanigans on that because she absolutely did. And this is the clip that I was actually looking for. And once again, wrong screen. Here we go.
unpack today. First and foremost, I woke up this morning and I was highly upset. I had a little bit of a yesterday news hangover. I realized that I'm actually so not okay with what Erica Kirk did. She essentially put a target on my back by wrongly.
Okay. She has the absolute nerve, the gall, the stones to say that Erica Kirk put a target on her back by rightly telling everyone, acknowledging that she has been accusing her of killing Charlie Kirk. Meanwhile, Erica Kirk has had to cancel appearances because of threats against her life. Candace Owens has what I call the candy cult. There are people, and if you look at some of the things that she puts out on X and look at the comments, there are people who will defend her to the death. And then when you actually respond to some of those comments, and when people, I haven't gotten involved in too much of that. But when you look at some of the comments where people will actually respond with video clips of her contradicting herself, video clips of her actually lying, video clips of her own words contradicting what she's saying in this post, they say it's not true. They say it's taken out of context. I've even seen some say that it's fake, that she didn't say that, even though it's right there. And yeah, I know AI, deep fakes, all that nonsense, but come on. Candace Owens is an absolute lunatic. And she's such a lunatic that she can't keep her lies straight. It's sad. It's sad because yes, she's a lunatic. Yes, she's suffering from postpartum depression. I still pray for her. I pray for her because she needs all the prayers. She really does. Because I mean, you don't want to see somebody dealing with this type of mental breakdown. don't want to see that. She's going to deserve all the smoke that she gets from these lawsuits. Absolutely. She needs to be held accountable for it. Absolutely. But you still have compassion for somebody suffering from these types of mental illnesses, because she's still a child of God. She's still made in his image. And we're commanded to love these people. And believe me, some of these people make it very hard to do. Not gonna lie. The fact that I even came out of my mouth with those words is, yeah. We'll just we'll just leave that there, because yeah, we'll just leave that there. She I hope Erica Kirk follows suit, so to speak, and sues her for, and there's a really good chance that Brian Harpole's suit is going to bankrupt her. And if that doesn't, if Erica decides to go forward with a suit, that probably would. Like I said, she needs to be held accountable. All right, let's move on from that. Yeah, there were there were a couple of other things I want to get to, but I want to move on to this. And this was something that I actually had on the slate for one of the shows last week, because I came across this a while ago, and I felt like it was something that I really wanted to talk about. And I just talked about how we're commanded to love our neighbors and pray for people like Candace Owens, who are having these types of mental breakdowns. And some people will say that she's demon possessed. I don't know about all that. There may be some truth to it. Who knows? Given the level of evil that she's been spewing, it's probably more likely than not. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this because this, I came across this video clip and wanted to talk about it. And it is a clip of someone who was practicing witchcraft and decided to do an experiment and test Jesus. And so let's take a look at this, and then we'll get into it.
I decided that I would try out Jesus as my deity. So I put all of this down, and it was going to be temporary. I was like, let me just do a little science experiment, right? So I started praying to Jesus. I paused on doing readings. I paused on, astrology and all of that stuff. I paused on doing Reiki. And because I knew, she kept telling me, you can't do both. You can't do witchcraft and be with Jesus. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do a little test. I'll just put it down for a minute and I'll try it out, and it's going to be wrong, was essentially what I thought. So I tried it out, and I just experienced such a sense of peace and love, unconditional love that I had never felt in my whole life. I can't even explain it. like when I was in New Age, it didn't feel as personal as it does with Jesus. It just didn't. Nothing did. Nothing came close.
And nothing will. Nothing will. This is a beautiful story. And I mean, all you have to do is give him a try. All you have to do is give him a try. If you ask, he will show up. And he will show up in powerful ways that you couldn't possibly imagine. You can't even, you really can't. You can't fathom the depth of the personal relationship that you can have if you just open yourself up to it. And I mean, think about it. This person was a practicing witch, dealing in witchcraft and new age stuff and all kinds of demonic behaviors and practices and all that stuff. And she just said, you know what, let me give this a shot. Let me see what this is all about. And boom, over. A practicing witch that comes away with such a personal encounter is amazing, absolutely amazing. And people who have followed this show for a while know about my personal encounter and experience with the Lord. And it's amazing. And it's people like this who I say all the time, I talk about this all the time, that all of the problems that we face and all of the policy prescriptions that I lay out and that others lay out, all of it is really not going to mean much if we do not come back to God as a country. Everything that the left does and all of the things that this country has moved towards in the past 50, 60, 70 years are all leading us away from what the founders intended for this country. And the 250th anniversary coming up is the perfect opportunity to turn that around. But it's people like this that are going to do that. It's not going to be the fake preachers that get up and coddle these people with all their extra religious, extra biblical nonsense. And it's, to be perfectly honest, it's not even really going to be real preachers who are sincere in the faith and who are actually doing the will of God. It's not even really going to be them. It's going to be people like this, and it's going to be their stories, because these stories are personal and powerful. And preachers who get up in the pulpit every Sunday and preach the word of God and are doing the will of God and being obedient to him, those people are fantastic. But the fact remains, a lot of times they're preaching to the choir, so to speak, because not enough of us are going out into the world and actually trying to make disciples like this woman. So it's people like her who are going to be instrumental in spreading the word of God. And the Bible is not a set of rules and regulations. you have to follow and to the letter, or else you're going to hell. That's not it. The Bible is the exact opposite of a set of rules and regulations. The Bible is about his love for us, and it gives a prescription for how we can reconcile with him in this fallen world in which we live. Romans 10:9. And I'm gonna end this segment with this. Romans 10:9. If you confess with your mouth and that Jesus is Lord and believe with all your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's it. That's it. And yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't do that and then continue to go out and do the dirt that you do, because you have to believe it with all your heart. And if you believe it with all your heart, you're not going to want to do those things. All right, sermon over, but I really wanted to get that in because I feel like it was really important to help drive that point home. And so now I want to get onto something a little lighter. And this is something else that I wanted to talk about during one of my shows, but it never made the cut. And so this story was written by a friend of the network, Amy Curtis, over at Town Hall. And you're not going to be able to see it, but I am going to show it to you real quick before we get into it. Iconic American whiskey brand Jack Daniels could fall under foreign control. And that is a sad state of affairs. A very sad state of affairs, especially coming from someone who is a whiskey and bourbon guy. I appreciate my whiskey and bourbon very much. I'm not even a Jack Daniels fan, especially the Black Label. And back in the day when I used to drink that, my wife wasn't a fan of it either. But Jack Daniels, like I said, is, or like the story says, is an iconic American brand. It was founded in 1870 in Louisville, Kentucky. And Brown-Forman bought it. I'm not sure when Brown-Forman bought it, but Brown-Forman owns a number of other brands like Woodford Reserve and Old Forester. Woodford Reserve is a good one that I enjoy, and so is Old Forester. I have some Old Forester rye in the cabinet right now. And it is also, as Amy Curtis says in her story, listed in the National Register of Historic Places. So to see the possibility that this brand, this uniquely American brand, could fall into the control of a foreign entity is concerning. The company that is thinking of, excuse me, the company that is in the running to buy them out is called Pernod Ricard. It's the world's second largest spirits distiller, I guess, and they own Absolute. So not really distiller, but they own Absolute, Jameson, Chivas Regal, Beefeater Gin, Malibu Rum. Excuse me. And I mean, some people love those brands, and I've had pretty much all of them at one point in my life or another. They are what they are. It's fine, but they should not be acquiring this company. We shouldn't really do anything, but it's just going to be sad if that happens. It's not like I want to see the government step in and acquire it like they tried to acquire Spirit Airlines. Maybe they could step in and stop the sale. That would be good. And there is another company, an American company that is trying to prepare an offer, Sazerac, which is also a Kentucky-based company that owns Buffalo Trace, and Sazerac itself is a brand, and Sazerac rye is actually pretty good. I'm a rye guy, but yeah, this is not good. We are losing our identity, and this is just another symptom of that. Whether you drink whiskey or not, whether you like whiskey or not, whether you're against alcohol or not, is really irrelevant. Because, as I said, we are losing our identity, whether it's through foreign acquisitions of our companies or Islam taking over in all these cities and states. We're allowing our identity to be eroded. And that is something that we should fight very, very hard to prevent. And I really hope that Sazerac can come up with a competitive offer that Brown-Forman will accept, because this is not good. And to be honest, it's not even really good for the impact it could have on the quality of the product. If they acquire this company and they decide they want to use cheaper options, cheaper methods to distill the whiskey, in a few years, 5-6 years, the quality of the product that they put out could be dramatically changed. We've seen that happen. We've seen that happen with some other iconic American whiskeys like Early Times. Sazerac bought Early Times, and then I think they turned around and sold it off again, and the quality of that whiskey has gone down dramatically. And think about it. If they want their current brands to stack up, they will probably deliberately sabotage the quality of the current stock. And like I said, I'm not a big fan of Jack Daniels, but Brown-Forman has some really good brands, and some of Jack Daniels' higher level stuff, some of their more limited offerings, I've tasted. They're pretty good. I wouldn't buy them because of other things, which we've talked about on this show a while back, and I'm not going to get into that right now because that's not what this is about. But hopefully the Sazerac will come up with a good offer. And then maybe, because it's not, President Trump has blocked stuff like this before. So maybe he will step in and block this sale. Who knows? He did block the acquisition of U.S. Steel by Nippon Steel in Japan. So it's not without precedent. And as a as a whiskey guy, like I said, I would be all for that. All right. Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren is getting her clock cleaned right now. I mentioned the Spirit Airlines. And there was an opportunity for Spirit Airlines to merge with JetBlue back in 2024. And the Biden administration and the DOJ sued to block that merger. And Elizabeth Warren was one of the main drivers behind blocking that merger. And she is getting creamed on social media right now because of it. Because let's see, do I have no, that's the wrong one. She's also talking about President Trump appointing two Supreme Court justices. But there was I thought I had it here, but I guess not. But she was cheerleading Biden's DOJ blog and suing to block that merger, saying that it was a win for the Biden administration and a win for consumers because they were going to have more choices and lower prices and all the rest of that nonsense. And now, because she blocked that merger, or she was instrumental in blocking that merger, those words are coming back to bite her. Oh yeah, here we go. She said in a tweet, "I've warned for months that a JetBlue Spirit Airlines merger would have led to fewer flights and higher fares. And the judge and U.S. Department of Transportation were right to stand up for consumers and fight against runway airline consolidation. This is a win for flyers." And now, and just to put a number to that, she said that and the argument that the Biden administration made was that merger would lead to a monopoly situation where that merger would have led to those two airlines owning a 9% share of the airline market, as opposed to the big four, Delta, American, United, and Southwest, owning 75 to 80% of that share. So blocking that merger was statistically insignificant. It was significant, yes, but not to the point where it was going to lead to a monopoly situation. But now Spirit Airlines, because of the fact that they were already in bankruptcy, rising oil prices and all the rest of it, they had to fold. And she is getting hammered for that. People are retweeting and community noting that tweet to no end. And it is glorious to watch. But of course, she's in Massachusetts. It's really not going to have any impact on her because there are no Republican. Well, obviously that doesn't really have much of an impact on the Senate races, but she's in Massachusetts. she's going to win re-election when it comes up if she doesn't retire. It is what it is. But anyway, excuse me. Anyway, folks, that is about it for us on this briefing. I hope you enjoyed the first weekend debrief, the first of many. We're going to try to do it every weekend. We may not do it every weekend. We'll see. It's going to depend on a whole host of things, but I am going to try to get one in every weekend. But in the meantime, please check out all the other great shows that we have on the SHR Media Network. Sackhead Sean every Monday and Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. Jersey Joe, he's been off for a little bit, but he will be back every Monday and Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific. BZ in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. And Lyle Armstrong with Beer and Bullstein every Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Please like and subscribe to all of those great shows, and keep praying for us that we have a continued breakthrough and growth on these platforms, because we want to reach as many people as we possibly can. All right, y'all. So like I said, that's it. We are not here to just bloviate, although I kind of did a little bit of that today. But we want to equip Christian men and women to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and carry the banner of faith, freedom, and hope into future generations. If what we said here today matters at all to you, please, like I said, take a second, like, subscribe, share. And if you want to wear your armor, head over to missionreadymen.com, click Shop 7 Armors, and check out all of our great designs over there. And while you're there, go ahead and check out the SHR Media Shop. You can get all the great designs for all the shows, for all the guys, all of our t-shirts and hoodies and other gear. And also head over to carrygirl.com and you can get this Pray hat, camouflage Pray hat over there. Please check all that out. And we would really look forward to seeing you over there and having you as a customer. And remember, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.